like everywhere.
Awesome.
This is great. Welcome everybody. So this is awesome. So good to see everybody. Well, we have a ton to cover. So I know people are still getting their lunch, and we're certainly, from the amount of registrations, we're certainly going to have some more people join us, but they're going to have to catch up because Leah and I have our track shoes on today. We're running.
We do. Got a lot to cover today.
Yes, we do. So we're going to go. Oh, we've got the chat going. So Anya says meow. So
that was about herding the cats.
Yes. So, all right. Good to see you. The chat is open. We'd love to hear from you. So keep it coming. We want to hear, what's happening in your world. I should have set up a poll. So I would like to know how traffic is. Not web traffic, actual people that you're seeing. And I used to say physical traffic, but I know that today we are still seeing a lot of people via Zoom and electronically, but people you're meeting with. So Kurt says walk-in traffic is slowing down. That's what I'm hearing. I even had a builder today that I was on earlier with. Kurt, you get a kick out of this. He said that the trades are starting to call him and ask for work. So I was like, wait, what? Have I entered into an alternate universe? That's just crazy. So let's hear from the rest of you. How's traffic in your world? Is it up? Is it down? Is it about the same? Are you seeing your internet traffic and registrations that way going down, but still dealing with the same amount of people because we're working through all these people that are trying to get sold, get a home before the prices go up anymore or interest rates go up anymore? Because that has certainly, if anybody was not able to buy, they have a vengeance now to try to move forward. So steady and slight increase in web traffic. That's encouraging. That is encouraging. Thank you for sharing that. So Leah, if you would go ahead and Anya says the incentive word. So Leah, go ahead, introduce yourself, and let's talk about what Melinda Brody and Company is. And
awesome.
And if you would share just a little bit about our dear departed friend, Melinda Brody, because I feel like we always have to honor her.
Absolutely. Well, I'm Leah Turner, and I was here almost a year ago, Kimberly. It was like June 22nd, as a matter of fact. And so thank you, of course, for having me back on representing Melinda Brody and Company. For those of you who don't know what Melinda Brody and Company is, it is a video shop. Thank you, Anya. A video shopping company that Melinda Brody started, goodness, about 35 years ago. I've been working with the company for 15 years. Time flies, as their sales coach and trainer. Melinda Brody unfortunately passed away a couple of years ago, but her legacy lives on. And Ben Marks is now the president, has been, that's 6 or 7 years now as well. The president.
That seems wild to me. That it's been that long.
Right? Time flies, but one of the things that sets Melinda Brody and Company apart is that they focus only on the new home building industry. So for those of you who aren't familiar with video shopping, I'm sure this will ring a bell. It's when the secret shopper comes into your sales office and has a camera and a microphone strategically hidden on their body, and they go through the actual sales presentation with the salesperson. This is recorded. Then this video is sent to a team of people who review. We have a team of reviewers that actually go through, look at all of the video shops, and come up with a score. The score is then sent with the video to the general manager, sales manager, president, whomever that is. So now you've got a tool. And so many people that I talk to go, oh my God, video shopping, I hate that, I hate that. But one of my missions or passions in life, if you will, is getting salespeople to recognize that video shopping is not a gotcha. It's a aha in terms of let's take a look and see what you're doing really, really well. If there are some areas that you can improve upon. I look at a video shop as an excellent tool for training. You kind of get a baseline as to where you are. So when I'm coaching clients, Kimberly, the first thing I say is, tell me the 3 best things that you saw in your video shop. Now, of course, everybody's going, oh my God, I did this. It was horrible at this. I'm like, no, no, no. I want to know what you did well, because it's simply a tool to get a snapshot of what it looks like when you're out there doing your sales presentation. So what we're going to be talking about today is actually the real exciting part, is that at the end of the year, Melinda Brody and Company takes all of the analysis and the data from all of the shops they've done the previous year and put together what we call a benchmark study. And the company has been doing that for, I'd say, at least 20 something years. So that's what Kimberly and I are going to be talking about today. But I'm very proud of working with Melinda Brody and Company. Melinda was a pioneer in our industry, and her legacy lives on. And it makes me really excited to be able to share the message and share some of the results that we've seen this year, because as Kimberly and I will tell you, the results are very different from years past. So it's going to be an exciting time. So thank you very much for having me again, Kimberly.
No surprise, I would say, to people like you and I, but it is a surprise because of what has changed. So yes, I'm super excited about that. And
yeah.
And thank you to you and Ben for the work that you're doing. You know, Leah and I back in the day worked for a builder, large publicly traded builder, and we were both sent to the Center for Creative Leadership. And
what an
the Center for
experience.
Creative Leadership. So if you think having a mystery shop of you is a thing,
Lord.
go to the Center for Creative Leadership, because talk about like probing.
You're under a microscope, literally, for 7 days, under a microscope, in terms of every aspect of your personality, your behaviors, your socialization. I think they even did like a physical exam too, where they're checking body fat. And I'm like, what is this?
They used calipers. I was like, excuse me? You don't need to know my body fat index. So.
What does that have to do with sales and marketing, right? But you're right, though, definitely under the microscope. That was a great course, though. I really feel fortunate we had the opportunity to partake in that.
It was, and you know, we had every assessment known to man. They put you in all of these artificial circumstances to see that are very uncomfortable, to see how you react, to judge your leadership skills. You're videoed for the entire week, and then they give you a corporate psychologist on the last day, and you meet for half a day with this corporate psychologist. And so, you mean, talk about mind blowing, but once you've been through something like that, you're like video.
That's nothing.
So,
right.
Get over yourself, right? This is how I look. This is how I talk. Because
but you know
usually when I'm going over somebody's mystery shop, they're like, do I really sound like that? Do I look like? Yes, that's you. We can all agree that's you on the video. So,
well, I say this every time. I say this every time when I'm coaching clients. I'll say, watch it 3 times, especially women. Watch it 3 times, because the first time you're going to hate your outfit. You're going to look fat. You're not going to like your voice. You're not going to like your hair. It's only about the second or third time where you can start to get in there and get the meat, you know, and see it for what it is. But you know what? You get over it. Yes, you do look like that. Yes, you sound like that. You're still beautiful. We still love you. But like, really dig into it and find out, pull those nuggets. I always say, if you can walk away with 2 or 3 really good nuggets from your video shop that are going to help you be a better salesperson tomorrow, then we've succeeded in what we wanted to do.
Absolutely. Yeah. I learned I have a Jim Carrey face.
Ew, I wouldn't say that.
Yeah. Oh, it's very elastic. Yes. No, if I'm thinking it's coming across on my expression.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah.
Yeah. So I always say I have a Jim Carrey face, because you know how elastic his face is. That's me, apparently. So, and just to finish up with our intros, for those of you who don't know me, my name is Kimberly Mackey. My company is New Home Solutions Consulting, and I am a management consultant. That is the primary meat of what I do. Currently, I am working with a lot of builders on gaining traction. And Gino Wickman wrote a book about traction. I'm implementing that and acting as an implementer for builders. I love this because it's everything that I've been teaching them, but now I have a way of actually tracking it, setting them up and seeing the results. And it's absolutely thrilling. I also do sales management consulting, and you know, the regular sales and marketing management consulting as well. But I like to say that I'm the person who comes in to make sure that sales is the engine that drives the train rather than running it off the tracks. Because I have literally gone to a builder, gotten their systems like a well-oiled machine, and they literally ran out of land because they wouldn't listen to me. They were always telling me, no, it's the market. Oh, the Canadians are in town. Oh, it's this, it's that. Never that we now had a way of predicting absorption and that we had even flow sales, so that we could have our even flow starts, even flow out that cash flow, even flow out our building, and make sure that we had the right people in the right place at the right time. So now I have this tool. They can't argue with me anymore. It's right there in black and white. Home building is a numbers game. So that's what I do. If I can help you with any of that, or just if you have any questions about any of our topics or anything, Head to Head came about as actual conversations that people like Leah and I have. It actually started with Myers Barnes and I talking on the phone one day, and we're just bantering back and forth, and we're kind of like arguing an idea, but not arguing it. We're debating and coming at it from two different perspectives to kind of meet in the middle. And I was like, wouldn't this be interesting if people could hear, if they could be a fly on the wall? So that's how Head to Head came about. So if there's any, they're all on newhomesolutions.com. There's a tab for Head to Head. You can find all of it right there. So that's how you find me. And of course, coming up, we have our good friend Rolly. We call him Rolly.
Rolly.
So, yay. So Roland is going to join me on June 14th at noon. It's a Tuesday. We're going to be talking about avoiding market whiplash, which is such a great segue from what we're talking about today, Leah. So that should be a really good one. Roland's got a new book out, and he has a retreat coming up. If you got my newsletter, there's a link in there about his new tropical retreat that's coming up in November here in our backyard, Leah. He's going to be in Clearwater, over at the Clearwater Hilton. I thought that was awfully convenient of him to schedule that, where I didn't have to get on an airplane to go to it. It was just, that was really nice. So that's coming up on June 14th. All right, let's just dive right in. We will not have slides for this, but this is such a visual thing. I wanted to make sure that everyone could see this. Let's talk about the 2020 versus the 2021. We'll go into more detail after we take the slides down, but let's talk about where these numbers actually fell.
Right. Okay. So as I mentioned earlier, we take the results every year of all the video shops that have taken place during that year. I'm going to say it's typically between about 1,200 and 1,400 shops a year. And these shops represent on average between 40 and 45 different builders across the country, from the Carolinas to California and all places in between. So they take all of that data and they crunch it down to come up with the score in each of these 6 areas. Approach and introduction, which is, underneath each category, there are multiple questions, but approach and introduction, obviously, Kimberly referred to it earlier as the meet and greet. Did they do the registration card, et cetera, et cetera? Did they offer a refreshment? Did they use the person's name? Then the builder story, obviously, model demonstration, home site demonstration, closing, and then follow-up. And we monitor the follow-up and want to see if anything has been sent out, whether it's, a text message, a voicemail, or whatever, within 24 hours. So typically, if you look at the score for 2020, that's kind of in line with what I see almost every year. There's some variation, but typically closing is always dead last. Model demonstration is always high, approach and introduction always high. So we were really all kind of on pins and needles wondering what 2021 would bring, because obviously, as you know, in 2021, we had some changes in the market, lots of changes in the market. We were still coming off of a COVID and kind of changing how we do business. So when we published these results, Ben and I were like, oh my goodness, this is the first time in a very long time we've seen these shifts in the numbers. We actually had builders calling us going, what in the world happened here? How can you explain this? So, Kimberly, thank you for highlighting in red and the big fat arrow pointing downward where we've seen some changes. But like approach and introduction, my goodness, 92% is what we always see that in the 90s. And this year, 73%. That means 73% of the people that we video shop actually did a good meet, greet, welcome, use of name, building rapport, asking questions, etc. That is a huge drop. That is down 19%. Huge. Builder story, the good news is it went up. And I remember when you and I talked last year, Kimberly, we were talking about the importance of sharing your builder story. So obviously people have listened to that. It's not super high, but it does mean that 53% of those that we video shop used the builder's name, talked about the USP that their builder has, positioned them in the marketplace. Go to model demonstration, another downer, down 11%. And this one is ironic to me, and we'll get into more detail, but this is typically always in the 90s because this is where our salespeople get into the zone. You know, they're comfortable, they're showcasing the model, they're pointing out the beautiful features. They're not doing that so much in 2021. They didn't. Home site demonstration, holy tamale, that's down 24%. That's a huge drop, or excuse me, 24%, huge drop. Now, here's the shocking thing, closing is up. and for every year that Melinda has done this survey, closing is usually typically the dead last or second to dead last. This year it went up. And then the follow-up category down 6% to 45%. And this one always blows me away because it's follow-up. It's the easiest one of all of these to do. So we saw a lot of changes in these numbers, and what you and I are going to kind of roll up our sleeves and dig into is why the changes in the numbers. And that's what our builders are asking us. You know, is it market conditions? Is it not having anything to sell? Is it price increase? What is it? Why are our salespeople not performing in these areas where they've typically done very, very well? So that's kind of the secret of the benchmark study. And you can see just based on those numbers, why we were kind of just taken aback, like, holy cow, these are some significant changes in 2021.
So Aaron asked us if demo and home site demo include a virtual demo. I don't know for the benchmark study, but in my world, yes, those count.
Yes, it does count. Good question too, by the way, because when all of the COVID protocols started coming into play, Melinda Brody was very responsible and reactive to this and shifted our scorecards to include virtual home site demonstration, virtual model demonstration, because a lot of people were doing, as you'll remember, their sales presentations virtually. So especially in 2021, so that does include model demonstration and home site demonstration virtually. So good question.
Very good question. So I would be remiss if I didn't talk about our conversation that we had last year and encourage any of you who didn't hear that yet. I did post a link to it in my my newsletter that went out, but you can also find it on newhomesolutions.com/head-to-head with hyphens in the middle there. If you will look, you can go back and you can actually see, because a lot of the information that we talked about last year, like the basic no-nos, not building rapport and forward, overcoming objections, getting complacent, the builder story again, and follow up. You know, we did talk about those things. Mm-hmm. We're gonna talk about them today, but we're gonna talk about them in a little different way, based on not only what happened in 21, but what's happening now. In 22 with rising interest rates and what we're seeing from people in the market, and how this shift is going to change things. And what we're finding is there's a lot of people who have a lot of rust to dust off.
I agree. And you know, without saying it or saying it, there's some complacency. People, you know, are getting complacent, and I can understand that. I think last year the words we used were frenzy and frustrated. Our buyers are frenzied, we're frustrated, we don't have things to sell. I think those two words can carry over, and I think it's carried over into the presentation where if you don't have a lot to sell or you don't have anything released, we're forgetting, we're going straight into, for approach and introduction, we're jumping straight into sales mode. We're forgetting that critical piece, which is stop, take the time to set the stage, set your buyer's expectations, and get to know them, build rapport. I cannot stress that enough. And I know Kimberly and I are both big Ford fans. Woohoo! Family, occupation,
recreation, and dreams.
Right. Ford, even if you just spend 5 minutes or 10 minutes at the beginning of your presentation, I guarantee you, not only will you build rapport, but then you're going to get information that you can use during your sales presentation to personalize the presentation. What I'm seeing on the video shops that I watch is it's immediately, hi, the models are that way, go take a look. And I haven't seen that in a long time. It goes straight to go take a look at the model. And in many cases, they're not walking the models with them, which is another crucial point. That's where you take your Ford, you walk the model, you get to know them more. This is where you're like a fly on the wall, especially if there are 2 or 3 people. They're making their comments. Oh, I hate that. Oh, I love that. These are clues that you need to know to help you during your presentation. And if you're not there, if you're not present during that model demonstration, you're missing out. But if you're not building the rapport and going through Ford and getting to know them, and I say this till I'm blue in the face, use their names. Use their name. I still see it. Nobody wants to use the name. I think they hear it. It goes in one ear and out the other. And I've told them, write it down. This is Kimberly. She likes to be called Kimberly, not Kim, Kimberly. And use the name. That's one of the easiest ways to start building rapport, because once I start using your name, guess what? You're going to start using my name. And now we've built some rapport there. So
you have a connection.
Exactly.
Yeah. I always say, if we think as on-site salespeople, we're all like, oh, I don't like scripts. I don't like scripts. Well, guess what? Your buyers have scripts. So there's a good cop, there's a bad cop. They've already determined, they've already been to the last 3 places. They know exactly what they're going to say, exactly how much information they're going to give you. When you can get them off of their script. So if I'm in a sales center, for instance, like if the sales center is in the garage, I turn and I'm like, hey, thanks for coming by Bodacious Builders. Turn around and walk out the door. So, and go into the kitchen of the home where I can offer them a beverage. And usually they will follow me if for no other reason than just go, where's that crazy blonde chick going? What's happening here? But they will follow. When you walk with purpose, people will follow you. And now they're off their script because they're going, what just happened? I don't understand. What's happening to me? And now we can talk to them. Oh, hi. And that's where I introduce myself. Hi, I'm Kimberly, and you are.
And you know what else is good too, Kimberly? I think about taking them into the kitchen for a cup of coffee or a water. You're getting out of the sales office. So you're not sitting down across the desk. You're not in sales mode, because your buyers or your prospects, they want to see the pretty model. So you're accomplishing a couple of things. You're getting them out of their script mode, as Kimberly said. You're getting them out of sales mode because you're in the kitchen. And you're allowing them to be able to look around. Most of the floor plan is very open. So you're accomplishing a lot of things. And that's the ideal spot to start building the rapport and asking the Ford questions and setting the stage for what you're going to be doing over the course of the next 45 minutes to an hour.
Yeah. And while you're walking to the kitchen, especially if you have a trap or you're going out the side and going back in the front door, stop and talk. Talk about the weather, talk about, whatever they drove up in, talk about their logoed apparel. I mean, start trying to find some connections. Then when I get in there and I offer them a beverage or a coffee or whatever I'm offering them, at that point, then I go, oh, I'm so sorry. And fellas, this won't work for you, but this is my go-to. I'll tell you right now. I twist my hair and I'm like, I'm so sorry. I'm Kimberly. And you're like, what am I thinking? How rude. Why didn't I introduce myself to you? I did it on purpose. I wasn't being rude. Well, maybe I was, but at the end of the day, it was then so we can get real. And then they're more likely to give me real information because now they've already forgotten, their scripts are gone. We have to get real with people. So buy yourself a little bit of time. It gives you some time to assess, are these people who want to shake hands? Maybe they want, I don't think we need to be shaking everybody's hands. Hello, we just had a pandemic. Before that, we had people who are OCD and may not want to, or culturally inappropriate. And what if you shake the wrong person's hand first? So there's like all these things. So avoid these pitfalls.
Right. But take the time
and find something to get to know them.
Take the time to build the rapport, because not only are they going to, I always say, if you give them the opportunity, they're going to tell you everything they need. That's why I'm a big proponent about, tell me about your current situation, because then you're going to find out, I'm divorced, I'm married, I had a baby, the kids left home, grandma's moving in, all of that stuff. Do a nice open-ended question, get them comfortable talking about themselves. That's going to give you, as you're then walking through the model, well, grandma will be in this bedroom, and the twins, Kimberly and Kathy, will be in this bedroom. And then you can really personalize it. But I'm seeing people jump over that step, and I'm wondering if it's
completely dismiss it,
because they don't have anything to sell, or there's not any inventory that they have for release, or I don't know. There's a lot of different things, a lot of different vibes.
They're beaten down. They're very beaten down, and they can't do, as I'm working with my seasoned salespeople, that's what they're telling me. I want to go back to selling, but I don't have anything to sell. I'm limited in what I have to sell. I'm part of a lottery system. I'm part of a highest and best offer situation. I'm this or that. So it's all about just the facts, ma'am. And I'm like, no, but it can't be just about the facts.
No.
So, I'm getting a yes with 3 exclamation points there from Carrie. Yes, I'm preaching it for you, Carrie.
Well, and you know what, Kimberly, we were both around in the market of 2005, 2006, and we saw a lot of
just aged us. We look good for our age.
We were started when we were like 16, but we saw a lot of these things happening. And one of the things I think that we saw too was the same type of scenario, nothing to sell, price increases of $10,000 every month. But what goes up does come down, and things will get back to where they were, if you want to call it normal or not. And one of the things I think from back in those days that we saw was those salespeople that did not stay on top of their game when the market turned and they had to sell again. Bye-bye. They had to go find a new career, because we saw it. There was a benefit of it. Everybody wanted to get in sales at that point, because, as my land manager would say, a monkey could sell new homes these days. It's just so easy.
Which is quite rude. So please don't say that to your salespeople. But
no, it's horribly. That's why he's in land and not sales and marketing. But
that makes far more sense.
But when the tables turn, you've got to be ready. We've seen it happen before. So don't rest on those laurels. Use this as an opportunity to practice, to master your craft, if anything.
Yeah. So when the tide goes out, you see who's swimming naked. Is that what you're telling us?
Yes. Oh, that's a good one. I'm gonna have to
think about that one. Oh, I stumped Leah for a second. That's never happened.
Over the head. No, but you're exactly right. Use this as an opportunity to perfect your skill, and because it's not always going to be like this. And I think that approach, introduction, meet and greet sets everything up. It sets the whole presentation up. I've told Kimberly this before. I can typically watch a video shop, and trust me, I watch thousands of them, and tell within the first 5 or 10 minutes whether it's going to be a huge success or whether it's going to be a flop. And they haven't said one thing about a home or a home site or prices. It's all what happens in that first 10 minutes. It's almost, you can tell when it's uncomfortable, when they don't know their name and when they're not using their name, and it's very, very awkward. So we don't want that awkwardness. And you can save yourself a lot of time and trouble by just saying, 5 to 10 minutes at the very beginning, build that rapport.
Yeah, I'm going to show my age here, because I'm going to tell you that those old-fashioned paper registration cards, that you can write stuff down, and you're not that fast. I don't care if you're Gen Z, you are not that fast writing it all or typing it all in. So there is something to be said for being able to do that. And then I know it takes a little longer to go do the data entry, but boy, there's huge value in that, and it will remind you and have you think of things. I'm working with some seasoned teams right now. I mentioned in the pre-show when we were talking, and one of the exercises that I gave a very seasoned group out of Charlotte, North Carolina this past month was I wanted them to spend 3 minutes getting to doing a meet and greet, getting to know one another, building rapport, where they didn't talk about product at all for the first 3 minutes. No product. Their manager says to me, I don't think they can do it. I honestly don't. And I'm like, well, these are your people.
Right.
You should have a little more faith in them.
Right.
And he says, let's just do it for a minute. And I'm like, okay, I'm fine. I think it needs to be 5-10 minutes, like you said. I mean, I spent 45 minutes one day talking to a guy about a Harley Davidson motorcycle. I mean, I can talk to somebody about anything because I don't have to know the answers. I just have to have good questions. I got lots of questions about stuff I don't know. So that makes it easy. You just have to be genuinely curious. So, but these people, they couldn't make it. Not one of them. These are people who've been in the business 15, 20 years. They've been through the ups and the downs, and they still could not make it without talking about product for 1 minute. I encourage you to go back with your sales teams and do this. And I know salespeople, I'm asking you to role play. Oh, the dreaded role play. If you can't do it there, you can't do it live.
Right.
Really cannot.
Well, and you remind me of something, Kimberly. I remember once there was a video shop that came in and the person scored 100, and I could not wait to watch this video shop. I mean, I'm excited. I'm pouring wine. I'm calling Melinda. I'm popping popcorn. I watched this shop and I would have rather watched paint peel off a wall. Yes, did the person check everything off on the box? Absolutely. But no personality, no building of rapport. In my opinion, new home sales is both a science and an art. And the art part, the building rapport is the art. So, you've got to be able to have both of those together, the art and the science.
And think about this. Today, our sales process is more about pipeline management. After we get them on contract,
yes.
Now we have to manage these people for very long periods of time. If you didn't build rapport in the beginning, you don't have the very foundation that you're going to need to buy you the next 6, 8, 9, 12 months, which is trust.
And it's going to be a very difficult, awkward 9, 6, 12, whatever that is months.
It's going to be painful for everybody
if you don't
involved.
Have that relationship. So, tried and true, spend the time, build the rapport. And then that kind of goes into the model demo. I want to make sure we touch on all of these things that, that being down 11%. And I'll tell you, I have started seeing more and more video shops where the salesperson doesn't walk the model. And when I ask them, I hear everything from, oh, well, everything's an upgrade, or we don't have a lot to sell. They're not really interested. I just send them on their way to look. People, this is your store. This is your storefront. And not only that, it's your time to shine. It's your time to really incorporate the builder's story, talk about those things that you do differently from, other builders. It's your time to really take it to the next level in terms of what your prospects are looking for. Little nuances, oh, I love that. These are your clues that you can now take to use to personalize your presentation. So there's really no reason to not walk a model. I haven't heard one good reason. Have you? In terms of people go, oh, I don't walk the models.
The two bigger excuses that I'm getting are, well, we don't have any more of the model to sell. So I'm showing them something I can't sell. Or I don't have a model right now, so
true.
So those two things. But let's talk about the model that you can't sell that model. There are things within that model that you can show. And again, it's an opportunity to be very tactile and hands-on with your buyer to increase conversation. So I worked with again, another very seasoned salesperson. I think this guy had been in the business probably 25 years. And he said to me, I can't sell this model. I'm not going to have it available again until like next spring. And yet it's my only model. What do I do? And I'm like, okay, back up. You've done this before. We've got to dust off the cobwebs here. This is all about blocking and tackling. And what did I mean by that? I mean, where do you stand? He goes, they come running by me in the model because they want to immediately go in and see the model and get all excited about this one. I'm like, no, who's in charge here? So where do you stand? How do you stand? How do you, even how you place your feet? Those things become very important to make welcoming buyers, making them feel very comfortable and getting them inside, but then controlling the narrative so that you can start to set the right expectations.
Agreed.
You know,
and you're going to hear things. You're going to hear, "Ooh, I don't like how that is," or, "Oh, I love how this is." And even if you're not selling that model, it's your opportunity. And I think, Kurt, you're just taking the words out of my mouth, my friend. It's your opportunity to showcase your builder, the quality craftsmanship, the different things that they can do, the different things your design center offers. I get so upset when people go, "Well, I just hate showing the model because everything's an upgrade." Well, duh, this is your store. This is where you're able to showcase, hey, if you're into countertops, let me show you some of the things we can do with countertops or flooring or whatever. It's almost like a shift. Quit looking at it like, oh my God, it's all these things, all these upgrades, and look at it as an opportunity to showcase your builder and all of the diverse things that they are able to do. And more importantly, hear what your prospects are saying. Look, watch their facial expressions, see when they get excited about something, and build the rapport. So I don't want to see that one down next year. I want to see model demo back up in the 90s, because this is where so many of our salespeople just come to life. If you're not good at the small talk piece, I've seen salespeople just transform once they get into the model because they're in their comfort zone. So make sure you showcase and walk the models, which kind of leads us into the biggie of the 24% down. And that's demo the dirt. Walk.
when you cite, you write.
When you cite,
you write.
And you know, the other thing too, and I've seen this on video shops as well, is not everybody that comes to your community is coming because of the sticks and bricks or the homes, especially if you're in a community that is a heavily amenitized, or a golf course community, or the location is close to the airport, whatever. This is why that building rapport, what's important to you, is so important. And I don't know if I shared this or not last time, but one of the video shops, it was hysterical. This little old lady, she's at some, big golf and country club in Naples, and the salesperson threw her on the little golf cart, and they're tooling around in 190-degree weather, and he's pointing out every aspect about this golf course. At the end, he says to her, "Do you golf?" And she said, "No." So, there's 45 minutes of life they never got back. But on the flip side, there are also people that are like, I want to be in this community because of the amenities, or because of the location, or the home site is just as important, if not more important, than the home. Right? So you've got to do the questioning up there. I mean, Kimberly, I know you've seen it. I've seen it. I've seen sales made specifically due to the home site.
Oh, absolutely. So I tell the story often because it's just one of those emotions. It still gives me goosebumps. So I like to tell the story. But I was out in Estrella, which is on the west side of Phoenix. I was working with a builder out there, and the big master plan community is going to have 50,000 rooftops in it when it's done, called Estrella. And I was in one of the villages within that master plan community, aptly named Serenity, because it was just breathtaking. This view from this, it was sitting up higher in the mountains, in the foothills, facing the Estrella mountain range, which have, unlike like Camelback and some of the other more famous mountains in the Phoenix area, there's vegetation on this mountain. Ooh. So when the sun sets at night, it's just spectacular. Blues and purple and oranges and reds, and every night, depending on the dust and the cloud cover and what the weather is doing and the time of year, it's a different show.
Right.
So wow. I would always try to end my day in Serenity. We've been working with this family, and it was a very interesting scenario. The parents had been lifelong military. Their children, their adult children, were also in the military, and everybody wanted to finally come to roost in one area because they've been deployed all over the world. Well, right. The matriarch of the family had been talking to us for quite some time, and I was so thrilled to find out I was actually going to be there on the week of her visit. And because I felt like I'd gotten to know this woman just through working with my on-site. Well, she wanted a 2-story home. Now in Phoenix and in the Southwest, they build 8-foot walls around their backyard to keep critters out of them. But they also, I'm convinced, they're all just nudists, because nobody wants a 2-story home next to a 1-story, and nobody wants anybody to be able to see in their 8-story, in their 8-foot block wall. So there's only so many places you can put a 2-story home that this woman wanted. She walked with a cane. And that's important, because as we went out to look at this one home site that I said to the builder probably 15 times, why is this one so expensive? I don't get it. These have the better view. These are better home sites. Why are we charging so much more for this one? It had a rock behind it and one cactus. Now, I live in Florida, so I like green and, pretty things. Rocks are just like, it's a rock. I don't get it. But I helped this lady as we're going out. We showed her the home. She absolutely loved it. It was everything she wanted. We could only put it in this one spot. And so and it's like a $70,000 home site premium. So it was pretty hefty. And this is back in the day. I helped her over the silt fence. She had to hold on to me because she walked with a cane. And by the time we got out there, we set our cones where the home was going to go. We measured everything out, where her patio would be. We're standing on what would be the patio. The mountains started their show. The sun started to set, and nobody purposely did anything. We just realized all of a sudden that we'd all been just standing there kind of for several minutes, not saying a word. Mm-hmm. And I looked over to this lady, and there tears just pouring down her face.
Oh my goodness. Which
of course made me cry, because I'm an empathetic crier. And she looks at me and she goes, "It's perfect. It's perfect." And I said, "Oh, thank goodness, because if you didn't buy this home site, I was going to have to, because now that I've seen this, I'm like, this is incredible."
But that's the point,
That's the point.
And you've got to find out how they live. And I'm a big patio person as well. And so it's like, what is your sunset going to look like? You're going to have a masterpiece on every night of your life here. So don't know your home sites as well as you know your floor plans. I always say each home site should also have a USP. What is unique about this, right? And I've seen people, "Hey, come here. You got to look at this. This is where the sun sets, and you've got the golf course view over there." That's what sold them, not the floor plan. And we've said this before too. Your homes are not the unique. You can build a Willow model on home site 17, 49, and 38. But how many home sites 17, 39, and 48s do you have? What is unique about that property? What does your buyer want? I love to have my coffee in the mornings and hear the birds chirping. My goodness, you need to look at home site 27. It is exactly what you want. That's really the most unique thing that you're selling, is that home site. So don't disregard that. And then I've had people say, "Well, I don't show it until the second or the third or the fourth time." No, find out what it is that makes them tick about their home site and show it then. That number to me is appalling, that it's down 24%. And I know their conditions, and we don't have a lot to release. We don't have a lot to show, et cetera, et cetera. But if you do have home sites that you can show, don't miss that opportunity, and tell them in advance when you're talking about how you're going to spend your time with them. Once we determine your home site or your home floor plan, I want you to see some of these home sites. And based on what you've told me, Kimberly, you enjoy that quiet morning time. There is one beautiful home site here where you're going to see the sun just peeking over the mountain ridge. Whatever that is, paint the picture. You just saw how emotional. I thought, Kimberly, are you crying over there, Kimberly?
I could have. I can tell that story and cry, because I feel it every time.
But do you see what I'm saying? That's what you want your buyers to do. You want to find out and really hit that nerve. I can imagine that woman is just going, "And my children are all going to be together, and this is what we're going to look at." There's an emotional picture there. So don't skim over the home site thing, because that is the one unique thing that they are purchasing. So please.
And you can't see it from the road. You can't drive by emotionally connection and make an emotional connection. It's just not going to happen.
There's the home site over there. Make a left. No, get them out there. There's something about, this is your tree. I named my trees. My favorite tree, her name is Priscilla out there. I love Priscilla.
I've seen Priscilla.
She's gorgeous, right?
And we sat on a stump and looked at Priscilla. So
we love
yes.
Priscilla. So, but it's the truth. It's those unique things, those unique facets about a home site. And the fact that that number is down so far, just, it hurts me. It hurts Priscilla. Get out there and showcase your home sites, because that's
and a
really
lot
important.
of that, I'm sure, is because we have such limit. It's like, well, you can buy home site 4, you can buy home site 5. Which one do you want? I mean, but we're missing that connection, like you said, to the land. And when you site, you write. Before this, when I go out and train people and I show, I'm like, who has cones and 100-foot measuring tape? Nobody. Get your cones, get your 100-foot measuring tape, get your plot plans, and figure out where those 4 corners of that home are going, because it's coming, people. It's coming fast, and you better be ready.
Well, and Kimberly,
each home site's a one of a kind.
You touched a good point too. Oh, we got 14 and 26. Okay, that's not the right attitude. Oh my goodness. We have the beautiful one that catches the sunset, or we've got what is that USP? Create a story for each home site. What is unique and beautiful and wonderful? Does it have mature trees? Does it have a cul-de-sac? What is it? Every home site is unique. Write that story. I literally make people make a notebook on every home site. What's the story of that home site? And share it and get them excited about it. So, all right, I think they're going to be showing home sites from here on out. I'm feeling it.
I hope so. I definitely hope so.
Yes. I wanted to just briefly touch on the closing, how it wasn't last. In fact, it was up 14%. And when we talk with builders, a lot of them are like, I think part of this, and hopefully you'll agree, is that, we're in this mode. Hey, we got these 2 home sites left. I'm not getting anything released again until this date. You want to buy it or not? I think if anything, the market conditions where we used to be scared to suggest moving forward, we're now like, dude, I got 2 left. You want to be in here? Because if not, Joe behind you will buy it. Now, I'm not saying
that's
like
next.
Right. Yeah. And I'm not saying that that's the right approach. I want to know, we still need to close, but we still need to make it that emotional, we've worked towards the close, let's move forward, not the I've got 2 left. If you don't want to buy it, I know the person behind you will. So, but I think market conditions have increased that number. But maybe the good news is based on what we've gone through these past 2 years, we are more confident in actively suggesting that our prospects move forward. If you sell them on the home site, the builder, and the community, and that's a 4-win go, then you're doing them a disservice by not suggesting we move forward. So maybe through all this strangeness of the past couple of years, our salespeople are becoming more confident to suggest moving forward. So I was very happy to see the closing numbers increase.
Well, I hope so. And Leah teaches one of the courses that I wrote for me. She's my stand-in for this. And one of the things that we teach is, ask better questions, and set the expectation so that you can become an assumptive closer. Everyone wants to be an assumptive closer because the best salespeople are. And it isn't that they come in hard at the end. It's not about that, hey, take it or leave it, or do you want this? If not, next. That's uncomfortable. What's comfortable is asking questions along the way, checking in, doing those trial closes, and setting the expectation. Okay, the next step is we need to do that, blah, blah, blah. And then after that, we're going to do. And they go, okay. And their head is nodding, and they're like their body language, and they're just moving with you. And at the end, you go, the only thing we need to do is I need you to sign right here, and I'll need a earnest money deposit in the amount of what? And that's it.
It's an organic close. Because we're working at it from the moment they walk into our sales office. So when it is time to suggest moving forward, it happens organically. It's the natural progression. It's not some weird white elephant in the room. Call me if you have questions. It's like, wow, we said we wanted to do this. We set out to accomplish this. Sounds like we found the home site. You're happy with the builder and the community. Let's talk about what that looks like moving forward. It's easier for you. It's easier for your prospects when it does just flow like that organically, and it's not that weirdo last 5 minutes in the parking lot. Well, do you want to buy? That's so uncomfortable for everyone. So if you do what you need to do at the beginning and start setting it up, as you go along, you're working towards the close throughout the entire presentation.
It's about your curiosity. If you just ask questions and then you listen, I always say the good Lord gave you 2 ears and 1 mouth, use them accordingly. But if you're asking great questions, you're going to get the answers that you need. It's truly, questions are the answers to everything. It's not about having answers. No, it's about having great questions.
You're right. And then just to kind of wrap up the benchmark study, the follow-up, which went down from 51% to 45, even if
that one is surprising.
It's very surprising. And follow-up just always, it rubs me the wrong way, because I'm like, oh my God, it's the easiest thing in the world to do. Even if you don't have anything to suggest, like I'm not opening, I won't have anything until next month, follow up, because that's building a relationship. But keep following up. That's, again, why if you ask the right questions and you're able to personalize it, and if like, for example, if I was working with Kimberly, I know she has a horse, so it's probably very important for her to be near an area that can board a horse. Well, let's say I saw an article that a new area was opening up from near my community. That gives me a relevant reason, not a stupid, thanks for coming to visit us, Kimberly, but a relevant reason. Kimberly, I know you're a big
personalized. It's important.
Exactly. Yeah. Now, Kimberly's going to go, wow, that Leah, she's pretty darn sharp there. She's got me. So that follow-up is more than just check it off the list. It really is a continuation of building the relationship. Now you become a resource. You become a go-to person. So please follow up.
And ask how. What is the best way to follow up? And, today with our highest and best and our offers and our lotteries and, all of these things, my salespeople are asking me, how can I make it better for my buyer? How can I do these things? Well, follow up with them again in ways that matter, because if they lose on this home site, what's our plan B? Have a plan, have a strategy with them. And if you have strategy, you're listening to them, you've built rapport, you are going to be able to keep them in the game long enough till they have success. Most people are dismissing them. And that is unfortunate. That's unfortunate for our business, our industry, and our people, but most of all, our buyers.
And you know what, Kimberly, I think too, good point, because I think with everything that has happened in the market over the past couple of years, limited releases, everything else, that you're no longer a new home sales associate. You are a new home advisor. The relationship is a little bit longer now. If you've got to wait for a certain release, you're working with these people. So you're their advisor, and they're going to come to you for everything. So realize your importance as a new home advisor, that they're looking to you. They want to hear from you. You're keeping them in the loop, even if you have nothing to sell them for a couple of months or whatever that time frame is. Kind of reposition yourself, elevate your position to a new home advisor.
Which is, the buyer is changing, the technology is changing. Our role is changing, but it can be in a very good way if you utilize some of these things that we're talking about, because buyers are coming in far more qualified. They are coming in further into the funnel. And we know they're buyers, but they've got lots of questions. They need a lot of hand holding. That's where good new home salespeople never go out of style, because the builder can't do all that.
No,
the buy online is great to a point until they have a question, and then they need rapport. They need somebody that has taken the time to listen to them.
Yes.
So the computer's not going to hold their hand.
And that's what we were saying. Sometimes when you have a market like this, it kind of culls, it kind of gets rid of some people who maybe shouldn't have been in new home sales to begin with. But the ones who are going to be victorious and come out of this as the leaders are the ones that do take what you just said. Our role is shifting. We are advisors. We're not just, cookie cutter, here's your sale, let's move on. Next. We are developing these relationships. We're really listening to what their needs are, and we're acting as advisors and not just trying to get the sale, but really getting to the core of what makes these people tick. So I think that's
I like the suggestion in the chat about using BombBomb video as a follow-up. I use video as a lot of different tools. So as an expectation setting, send a video before you have a meeting with them so they are familiar with you and your mannerisms.
Right.
And yes, you look like you look. Myers Barnes told me that a long time ago. Kimberly, you look like you look. And I'm like, well, I'm not happy with that. And he's like, well, deal with it because it's reality.
Well, you're beautiful, so hush. So what I was going to say is also it's what's so critical today with all of these different conditions that are going on right now. It is critical to set the expectations with your buyers. Be transparent. If you don't have anything to release until July, tell them that right up front. Praise hallelujah. And the idea, I love the idea of a bomb video prior to, because now you're setting expectations. Here's what we're going to do when you come in, Kimberly. And goodness, and you say, we're going to get to know each other a little bit better. And I'm going to ask you a lot of questions, and you might not think they're relevant, but they really are for me as your new home advisor to help you find the perfect home. Setting expectations, then no news is bad news. You know, if it's taking you longer to build homes, which a lot of people are saying, longer build time, and we got price increases. Are mortgage rates going up? Yes, they are. We can't stick our head in the sand and pretend that they're not. Deal with it. Be transparent about it. I know mortgage rates are going up. Let's talk about that. You know, tell me what your concern is about that. So, you know, people have different thoughts on it. I'm kind of like, you know, if the price of gas goes up, I still got to have it. I've got to drive, right? So mortgage rates, what goes up will come down. It's cyclical. I mean, for people who have been in this for a while, we've seen it before. But I think setting those expectations and being transparent and honest and finding out what those things are that are, you know, making your buyers hesitant or a little concerned, get it on the table, talk it out, you know, that's my preaching.
I am 100% with you. Anybody have anything in the chat questions, anything you're dealing with? And you know, thank you for coming on and talking about this. I think it's so important that our salespeople understand what their unique selling proposition is. Forget what your builder's is. What makes you special? Now is the time for that to really shine.
It is. And my final observation is, again, with this market, what comes up will come down. We will get back to some sense of normalcy. Use this time to master your craft. Don't use it to rest on your laurels or I don't have anything to sell, I don't have to do it. Use this to perfect your craft, because the market will change. We've seen it happen. And you're always going to have objections. You're always going to have different things that you're going to be dealing with, but use this as your time to really perfect your craft. And Carrie is asking about 4, family, occupation, recreation, dreams, and not like, did you have a nightmare last night? But, oh my gosh, tell me your favorite place that you'd love to vacation, or what is it that you've always wanted to do? Ford, the best.
Making this move, how will this impact your ability to travel or do all of the things?
There is
a free handout on my website. If you go to newhomesolutions.com, it has my favorite discovery questions and includes, they're broken out by Ford, so you know when to ask them. So it's free. All you have to do is go on my website. A little pop-up will come up. Just fill out your information. It'll send it right to you.
And it's from the book, The Sales Ninja, or Ninja Sales, right?
Ninja Sales. Yeah.
Ninja Sales. So great book if you haven't read that.
Well, I don't know. Ford, I think, has been around longer than that, but Ninja Selling, it definitely talks about Ford.
Yes.
So.
Yes.
All right.
Awesome. Kimberly, always.
Thank you to Melinda Brody and Company for doing this wonderful work for us, and always fun to hang out with you for an hour, my friend.
I know. And no wine this time. So
no wine. What are we thinking? We should have done that.
Kimberly, thank you so much. And thanks everybody else. Thank you.